Hello everybody, in this tutorial I'm going to walk you step by step through the design of this shark that you see here on Phi and Onshape. So first of all I will not load anything to start and I will just bring in 3 images that I have already prepared and saved within my Onshape document. So first I have a front view of the shark and I will place this in the front plane, and as you see it's loaded here, and I can then proceed to load a second image. So I select my side view of the shark, I selected side, and I also give it a dimension. The other dimension will be proportionately adjusted. So I have my shark on the side view, and then I will bring in a third image to place on the top view. But before that, I want to just demonstrate that using the Move manipulator, and the shortcut for bringing in the Move manipulator is M, I can modify my sketches, move them, rescale them proportionately or not, rotate them, do everything I want with them. And so you see here I have this initial placement of the 2 images. And actually I'm demonstrating here that if I lock the rotation direction with this icon at the bottom, I can rotate around the horizontal or vertical axis only. So now I'll select top and I will bring in one last image, giving it again a dimension that I think is roughly right. By the way, you can bring in as many images as you want and place them either in the front, side or top orientation and then move them around. So I'm not limited to only 3 views of this shark, I could bring in many more. Again, I hit the little pencil to enter the edit mode for my images, and in this case I click on my manipulator and I rotate it by exactly 90 degrees. And then I will again hit M for the manipulator, and using the little white ball I am scaling this image. A reminder that with the manipulator, if you have shift pressed, the scale is proportional, so not only along the direction that you are pulling, but proportionately in all directions, which is convenient. So I have an initial placement of my images here, as you can see. And now I skip a few steps in a file that already saved, where I have positioned the 3 views roughly where I want them, and I have also loaded a simple cylinder, one of our default objects, and placed it on the body of the shark, because this is how I'm going to approach this design. So now I select the rear side of this cylinder, I hit P for pop out, and this also brings up the Move manipulator, and I scale it down to roughly follow the shape of the shark's body. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do here is try to capture the body. Now I box select this ring of edges and I just shrink it down a little bit, and I also move it forwards and backwards. You will notice that as I move that, the edges attached to it also deform and become smoother. Now I do another pop out towards the rear end of the shark's body and I shrink it down. And you will notice here that the transition between the edges is not smooth, which is expected because a pop-out does not guarantee smoothness when the edges are not already perpendicular to the popping face. So here I selected 2 edges and I hit smooth. And smoothen will make them a tangent, but it also moved the vertex between them. So I repeat the process and I hit smooth while keeping the shift key pressed. And in this case it will smoothen them without moving the vertex, so it respects the vertex position. And a third attempt here, I box selected and fixed using the X shortcut the part of the body that I didn't want to mess with, and then when I smoothen, only the unfixed edge changes. I can also increase the smoothening strength to have a more pronounced effect, so every time I hit smoothen, the effect will be more visible. And of course I can select many chains of edges and smoothen them all at once, as here. I now hit A to select everything and Shift X to unfix everything. I now show the images again to see where I am, and I will move to the forward part of the shark's body and I will repeat roughly the same process. So I will box select the front of that cylinder, P for a pop out, and push it all the way roughly to where the mouth is. And then I will also shrink it, of course, to capture again the body. I zoom in a little bit for more detail. I see that I need to adjust this. And again, I will have to add smoothness, a smooth transition between those edges. So I select them and I hit Shift V to leave my, Shift U to leave my vertex in its location. Now I can also add vertices on my edges with a V shortcut at any point that I want, and this allows me a little more freedom, so I can do more complicated shapes. Again, a smoothening of the edges down there, Shift U, and you can continue like this until you're happy that you have captured the shape of the object. You can of course directly deform an edge without adding a vertex to it if you want. There's a lot of freedom here. And again, by pulling this vertex now, you see that the edges automatically adjust to have a fair shape. Now I'll do one more pop out for the front of the shark, and this is a bit of a puzzle. To be honest, I also wasn't exactly certain how to attack this little problem. So in the end, what I ended up doing is I switched on transparent mode first of all to have a better look, and then I shift click on this edge. By shift clicking, you select the entire loop of edges, and then I hit shift delete to delete the edges but also the vertices that were on these edges. So I'm left with this let's say smooth little bulb at the front. I deform it, I add a vertex there hitting V, and then I decide to fix that part of the model that I have already shaped and I don't want to mess with it, and then I add smoothness where you saw in that transition. I pull the edge a little down, and then I pull that vertex further back, switch on transparent mode, and as you see we are able to capture the shape of the nose of the shark pretty well. And I think that's a good first approximation. I just need to add a little smoothness to those edges as well on both sides. I switched off transparency. By the way, in transparent mode you can also interact with the objects that are on the rear side. So you can click an edge through the body of the shark if you need to. Okay, so let's say that this is an initial shape that I'm relatively happy with. Of course you can do more manipulations and spend more time on it. For now I'm going to work on the tail. So I start with one more pop out, which I pull all the way back, and then I will elongate it vertically. So I click and drag the little ball without hitting shift in this case. I only want to move vertically. And then I pull back that side, and then I box select the entire pair of edges at the rear of the fin, as you can see there. Now I examine it from the top to see whether the tail is the rear fin is too wide, and indeed I will shrink it a little bit. And I then select these two edges and I hit the unsmoothen button to make them sharp. I don't want a smooth transition, I want a sharp transition between these pairs of edges. And now again I will go into transparent mode to place the vertex where I want it. I will pull up that side of the fin. I will now fix again and smoothen this transition. It will have a relatively violent effect, but I can easily deform it. And I will also add a vertex over there to help me maintain the shape that I want and capture the outline roughly. And I will do the same at the bottom side. A vertex, then a smoothening. I place that edge, and you will notice again this effect that as I move my vertex, the edges on either side automatically adjust to become fair. Now I think that the best way is to pull that vertex further down and maybe add one more vertex over there to capture better the shape. Anyway, I keep going. This is completely free form work, so you can just go in and adjust things as you want. By the way, one quick mention that so far I haven't been using symmetry at all. That's just my way of working. Here I will do a carve operation. With a carve operation, effectively it's like slicing through part of our body. So I draw a line, and this is understood as a cut, and indeed you see that these two edges were added to the rear side of the fin. And then I select these two triangles and I will do a pop out to create this indentation. Now a pop out doesn't give me exactly the result that I want, because I then need to go in and delete some of the edges to create this triangular wedge shape. So I will delete these two edges, which will leave me with just the middle edge there, and I switch to the side view. I bring in the image again, and I'll go in and deform this to capture the shape that I want. So roughly there. Okay, so let's say that this is a good initial attempt. So I will give this I hit the little button to send this over to Onshape. So I give it a name, I hit send to Onshape, and after a moment we will see a new tab appear at the bottom left, there it is. And this is my model translated into an Onshape Part Studio, a completely valid Onshape Part Studio. So I can later come in and do whatever I want with this, add fillets to round things, etc. Now, to work with a fin, I will select a different approach. I opened a new Phi tab, as you can see at the bottom. It's a second Phi tab, and I will work only on the fin here. So I start again with a cube, which it's not a very, let's say, it's not exactly the shape of a fin, but I think that I can get to my fin shape pretty fast, as follows. So first I rotated it by 45 degrees by using the move manipulator. Then I select these two faces and I split them, hitting Shift S. S and Shift S are two variations of the split command. So Shift S split them by adding edges to the vertices of these faces. I rounded them at the bottom and I shrink them, and I'm going to have to do something with the top side. So in this case I shift click on the edge to selector 4 and then I hit shift delete. Before I only hit delete and I was left with 4 vertices which I didn't want. So with shift delete I delete the 4 edges I selected plus the vertices. And now I keep working on this shape here. I'll try to capture the shape of the fin. I go into transparent mode, and so I can now move my edges and deform them, just like I did before with the rear fin of the shark, the tail. And the point here is that after I'm done with this fin, I will import it into the other tab to add it to my shark design, and I will demonstrate this in a moment. So I'm not going to spend too much time to make this perfect, just for brevity. No, okay, this is way too thick for a shark fin, so I will try to select everything in this tab and then shrink it. I think this looks kind of better. Alright, so now that I'm done with this fin, I'm going to switch to the other tab and I will hit the load into command. But before that I forgot to save this. So in my second tab I will save this, name it, I will name it fin top, the top fin of the shark, let's say. So this is saved in a separate tab within my Onshape document, and now in my main design I hit the load into, and as you see I selected the fin top and there it is. I can then move this, position it as I want. I can also do other operations. Now this is a completely editable part. And now I can send this over to Onshape again. I click the little green icon. And if I switch to my Onshape tab, the shark that I had already exported, after a few seconds you see that the fin will also come in. So now I can do some work within Onshape, like a Boolean union here. I select the fin and the main body of the shark, and these are united into one single body. Now back to my Phi tab, I need to work on the mouth. So what I did, I created this wedge shaped body within Phi, and similarly to how I worked for the fin earlier, and with a Boolean operation I subtract the wedge from the shark. And so I create this gap for the mouth. So basically this is how we recommend working with Phi and Onshape for a model such as this. You do all of your freeform design within Phi, you send over the work to Onshape, and then you use Onshape for Boolean operations, fillets, rounding, and of course a multitude of other tools that Onshape offers. So you can then proceed with the other features of this design, the other fins, etc. So this was my little shark demo. Thank you.